G'day gamers, Vader G here, welcome back to the channel. This is a follow-on vid. I did a video back in November 2021. It was called Is Marvel Future Fight Dying? I did a fair bit of analysis, not just on Marvel Future Fight, but on a bunch of games that Marvel Future Fight produces, including Marvel Contest of Champions, Lineage 2, different stuff, right? Seven Deadly Sins, that sort of stuff. And I was sort of, it was at a time when Marvel Future Revolution was coming on board, and I was curious as to what contribution Marvel Future Fighter had, but also other games and what trends were occurring in Netmarble in terms of revenue and what the revenue breakdown was per game at that point in time. Now, all of this information is readily available actually through Netmarble's website through their financial statements. So that's this kind of it was back in November 21. What we're sort of 2.5 years down the track, and I wanted to kind of pick up on that and see where we were. Now, obviously, Marvel Future Fight isn't dead, but going back through the figures and sort of adding the last 2.5 years on, definitely some interesting stuff and some surprising material or surprising entries in terms of Netmarble contribution. So let's just to give you a bit of context. These figures are based on the financial reports, but at one stage, and not too long ago, I think it was only 12 months ago, I was looking up Netmarble to see how big Netmarble Monster was, and it was actually the ninth biggest game and app publisher worldwide. To give you an idea of ninth, eighth was Disney. So they're a big player, the South Korean company, a massive player. So what we're going to kick off with, we're just going to have a look at the actual. I've actually just taken a screenshot straight out of Netmarble's financial reports. We're going to have a bit of a look at. We're going to start at Q1 2021, which is kind of where I left off. There's a little bit of overlap between my prior vid and this one, but let's start off Q1 2021, and I'll just pop it up on screen here. Now, hopefully this video is useful for anyone playing any of these games to get an idea of the breakdown and sort of what their game contributes in terms of Netmarble's revenue. By the way, the revenue for this quarter 2021 was $428 million US for Netmarble total, and this is how it's broken down. So if we kind of start at the orange top right, we've got Seven Deadly Sins Grand Cross contributing 15%, which is huge. Absolutely huge. Marvel Contest of Champions generally the winner by a fair bit in terms of contribution. This must have been Seven Deadly Sins introduction or some massive event in game for it to get a 15%. Marvel Contest of Champions, which is the stalwart of Netmarble, 12%. Seven Knights 2, 11%. Lineage 2 Revolution, 8%. Blade and Soul Revolution, 6%. Harry Potter, of all things, 5%. A3 Still Alive, 5%, which I did play that game just for a little bit, just to get an idea. And it's quite a really nice looking game, kind of cool game, but a bit boring after a while. Cookie Jam, I think that's where you make cookies, right? 4%. Marvel Future Fight down to 3%. So that is Q1 2021. Let's jump through and see where we sort of get up to in terms of, in terms of Q2 2021. So just pulling up that slide, we can see Marvel Contest of Champions back on top. And by the way, the actual revenue for this quarter was $434 million. Marvel Contest of Champions regains top spot, 13%. Seven Deadly Sins Grand Cross, massive at 13%. Ni no Kuni Crossworld, yeah, 12%. So I think this is where that game came, released on 8th of June in Taiwan, Hong Kong, and Macau. So big introduction, 12% straight up. And we do see when games are introduced, they do generally grab some market share. And we'll see in the next couple of slides Marvel Future Revolution. But to give you an idea, Marvel Future Fight back in 2000, introduced 2017, 2018, it peaked at 9%. And as you can see now, down at 3%. So getting back to it, Lineage 2 Revolution 6, Seven Knights 2, 5%, Blade and Soul Revolution 5%. Pretty good contributor, Blade and Soul Revolution. Never played that. Harry Potter, 5% outside of my wheelhouse, as is Cookie Jam. Marvel Future Fight down to 3%. A3 Still Alive, fading away a bit at 3%. Heading into Q3 2021 with revenue of $456 million for the quarter, which is a bit of an increase. We've got Ni Kuni Cross Worlds maxing out 20%. absolutely huge. Contest of Champions still remains steady, 13%. Seven Deadly Sins Grand Cross, 7%, very good contributor as well. Lineage 2 Revolution, hugely steady, either 4 or 5%. It's like a month after month after month. Marvel Future Revolution this is when it kicked off, and it came in with a contribution of 4%. And you can see there's no Marvel Future Fight on the actual graph at all. Blade and Soul Revolution steady at 4, Harry Potter steady at 4, Cookie Jam steady at 4. So just moving on through this. That's huge though, that Nino Cooney Crossworlds. Yeah, so it's interesting to see what they make. They make good games. So I don't know. I haven't got time for another game, but it could be interesting, I guess, to see what that's about. Okay, we're on to Q4 2021. Massive upswing in revenue. So we've gone from, I think, 456 million US dollars to 564 US million dollars. And you can see on the graph here the big change, which they've made no commentary about in these slides, by the way, is there's 3 new games on there that are sort of showing up with that sort of blue bracket on the right hand side. Cash Frenzy, Jackpot World, lots of slot. Now, it doesn't take too much imagination from the names of those games to pretty well, they're all gambling games. They're actually all slot machine games. Those 3, and look at the contribution straight up. Not as much as Marvel Contest of Champions, which is obviously the goose that laid the golden egg for Netmarble. Netmarble Ni no Kuni Crossworlds 9%, still going very strong. Seven Deadly Sins at 5, Seven Knights 2 at 5. Lineage stays at 4. Marvel Future Revolution has dropped from 4% down to 3. Blade and Soul Revolution has dropped off a bit as well, down to 3. Harry Potter at 3, and Cookie Jam at 3%. But the big deal is those 3 new apps, and they're all gambling based. And I don't know what all I know is Marvel Future Fight in terms of the gambling side of things, but it's kind of sort of there's no, to me, not a surprise, a bit of a surprise, but not a massive surprise when you sort of step back and go, okay, yeah, there's lots of RNG and gambling sort of stuff in Netmarble games. Generally, why not just go straight to the gambling game itself? Now, quarter 1 2022, revenue has dropped off a bit from 564 million US to 475 million US for the quarter. Marvel Contest of Champions stays on the top. Cash Frenzy, Jackpot World, lots of slots, really massive contributors there. And obviously, people love that sort of game. I've never done it, but it must be some sort of addictive thing about it. Seven Deadly Sins Grand Cross still pretty big at 7%. Ni no Kuni Crossworlds has dropped quite a lot, down to 7%. Lineage at 4. It's just like it's there all the time, 4%. Seven Knights at 4%. Blade and Soul Revolution at 4. Cookie Jam 3. Harry Potter 3%. Marvel Future Revolution has dropped off after 2 quarters. It dropped off the graph, so less than 3%, and sitting somewhere in that other category where Marvel Future Fight is as well, less than 3%. Somewhere in that other category. The other category is still significant though, 36%. So they must have a bunch of games that they kind of have ticking over that may not be the stars like Marvel Contest of Champions, but still contribute pretty well to the overall scheme of things. Q2 2022 revenue back up a little bit, close to 500 million at 497 million for the quarter, US dollars of course, and another shift in terms of the sort of leaders, I guess. Ni no Kuni Crossworlds, hard to say if you're not used to saying it. 10% Marvel Contest of Champions, there it is, 10%. Cash Frenzy, Jackpot, lots of slot, all the gambling shit, all 8%. Seven Deadly Sins at 7, really strong contributor. Lineage 2, what a surprise, at 4% again. Blade and Soul Revolution, Cookie Jam, Harry Potter. Marvel Future Fight back in business at 3% for that quarter. So I don't know what happened in Q2 2022 to get it back into the charts, I guess. But, whatever it was, surely Netmarble will have to have a look at that and figure out, if there's any correlation to sales through that quarter, and hopefully they keep it running. Q3 2022, revenue up again, 521 million US dollars for the quarter. Marvel Contest of Champions is the champion at 11%. Cash Frenzy at 8% for Nino Cooney Crossworlds. Oh, got it right for the first time. Jackpot World in at 8. Lots of slots at 8. 7 Deadly Sins at 6. Lineage 2 Revolution. Guess what? 4% once again. Cookie Jam at 3. Blade and Soul Revolution at 3. 7 Nights Revolution at 3. Harry Potter at 3. Marvel Future Fight at 2. Somehow they cut the graph off at 2% this time, and Marvel Future Fight scraped in. So there you go. We're sort of getting through this pretty quickly now. Quarter 4 2022. Marvel Contest of Champions. Well, let's just say, before I go on with that, revenue up a little bit again, 516 million US dollars. So very strong quarter for the revenue. Marvel Contest Champions 13%, Jackpot World 9, Cash Frenzy 8, lots of slots 8, 7 Deadly Sins at 7, Nino Cooney Crossworlds has dropped quite a bit, down to 5% now. Lineage 2 just stays the same each time. Cookie Jam, Blade and Soul Revolution, Harry Potter all the same at 3%. Marvel Future Fight back at 3%. So you sort of, Marvel Future Fight dropped off when Marvel Future Revolution kicked off. Marvel Future Fight back in the charts when Marvel Future Revolution dropped off the charts. Now we're into last year, Q1 2023. Bit of a change in terms of the winner here. We got Jackpot World taking over the number one at 10%. Contest Champions still steady though at 9%. Cash Frenzy, lots of slots both at 9. 7 Deadly Sins once again steady at 7. It's nearly like 7 Deadly Sins is 7% the whole bloody time. Nino Cooney Crossworlds dropped a little bit, down to 5. Lineage 2 Revolution 5. That's different. It's always 4. Blade and Soul Revolution 4. Cookie Jar or Cookie Jam, whatever the hell it is, 3%. Harry Potter 3%. Marvel Future Fight totally off the chart and remains off the chart for the rest of this year. Not a great sign for Marvel Future Fight, but we still get updates, so can't complain. In Q2 2023, Netmarble decided to change their pie chart into a bar graph in terms of market share or total revenue contribution. There's been a drop off definitely in terms of revenue, down from 520 million US dollars down to 453 million US dollars for that quarter. Marvel Contest of Champions, however, back on top at 12%, just such a strong performer. Jackpot World, Cash Frenzy, lots of slots, making up second to fourth place. 7 Deadly Sins in at 6%. Nino Cooney Crossworlds sort of stabilized by the looks of it to 4%. Cookie Jam at 4, Lineage 2 down at 3, Blade and Soul Revolution at 3, Harry Potter at 3. Not hugely different, except Marvel Contest of Champions has really sort of contributed again, massively. Q3 2023, so this is like 6 months ago, revenue 474 million US dollars, so back up a little bit more. Marvel Contest of Champions at the top, Jackpot World, Cash Frenzy, lots of slots, no change in terms of what's contributing. 7 Nights, Idle Adventure, that's new, right? Is that new or not? But if it's not new, it's jumped right up 5%. Tower of God, is it? Or Tower of Goo, something. New World, new game coming at 5%. 7 Deadly Sins, Grand Cross down at 5. Cookie Jam at 3. Lineage 2 Revolution at 3. Nino Cooney Crossworlds at 3%. And looks like Harry Potter has dropped off the charts. And then the latest data that we have, which is kind of, I guess, reflective of where Netmarble is right now, is in Q4 they had a very strong revenue month. Well, not a very strong, definitely not a record, but definitely stronger at 500 million US dollars, pretty much exactly on the nose. And the top generators, Marvel Contest Champions, started as the champion, finishes as the champion. Jackpot World, lots of slots. Cash Frenzy's dropped down a little bit. 7 Nights Idle Adventure has come up quite a bit. So that's definitely a bit of a shooting star for Netmarble. 7 Nights Idle Adventure, whatever that is. Kind of sounds intriguing. 7 Deadly Sins, Grand Cross back up at 6%, so doing well. Cookie Jam at 3. Harry Potter back in the charts at 3%. Nino Cooney Crossworlds has settled right down there at 3%, and Lineage 2 Revolution has dropped off just a bit down to 3%. So let's just have a quick look on screen and see what a couple of these games are. So Cash Frenzy, Casino Slots, offers a comprehensive selection of the most popular jackpot slots and casino games. Sounds kind of basic to build one of these things, but for whatever reason they generate a lot of revenue. You would sort of think this would be open slather, developing apps in a slot machine. I mean, how many different ways can you do it? And just going through to Jackpot World Slots Casino. Download Jackpot World Casino, one of the most popular free casino slot games to enjoy the ultimate fun of Las Vegas Roulette. And yeah, we're kind of lots of slots casino games. Hit huge jackpot in Vegas slot games, play online casino game and slot machine. Hey, slot lovers, get ready to experience whatever the experience is actually going to be there. So yeah, I mean, some interesting stuff. Let's have a look at the Marvel Future Fight graph, which is obviously the game I've been playing. This dates back to its release in 2017, Q4? No, that must have been when they started recording it. On the actual scale of the chart is US million dollars per quarter. You can see a high there of around about 35 million US per quarter back in Q2 2018, and gradual drop off since that point in time. More recently in 2021, 2022, the data has been patchy because it's been dropping below the threshold for them to put it on the bar chart. And if it's not on the bar chart, I can't dig into that data and figure out exactly how much it's contributing. If we have a look at kind of a pretty interesting example of the rise and fall of a game, Lineage 2 it actually kicked off pretty similar time as Marvel Future Revolution, Marvel Future Fight, sorry, not Marvel Future Revolution, Marvel Future Fight. It kicked off a little bit after Marvel Future Fight, and actually lots of Marvel Future Fight players back in the day. I remember them switching over to Lineage 2. You can sort of see how massive that game was when it was released. So nearly 200 million per quarter, which is, what's that, 10 times what Marvel Future Fight's record was back in. I think theirs was what was about 20 or something, and you just sort of see the decline over a period of time. So I mean, this is just a natural thing where games sort of peak when they sort of released, and gradually people lose interest in it. Unlike me, for some reason, I'm trapped playing the same game. And let's just have a real quick look at the star of the show in Marvel Contest of Champions. And you can kind of see, I mean, I only did the charts back to 2017. I did play Marvel Contest of Champions for a couple of months. Awesome fighting game, awesome graphics, ridiculous amount of characters, and they somehow they keep it fresh, right? Every year they keep it fresh. It's interesting. You can kind of see a bit of a trend from 2019 on, how it's sort of Q1 it starts a bit low, then gradually builds up to Q4, drops off again at Q1 in 2020, builds up, and you can kind of see that interesting seasonal graph for Marvel Contest of Champions. But it is definitely the star in the Netmarble lineup. But yeah, guys, let me know what you think of the video. Is there anything in here that you found interesting? Did you just find a whole heap of boring stuff? I kind of found it interesting doing the analysis and sort of figuring out what Netmarble look like these days, where my game Marvel Future Fight fell into it, and you guys can see your own games there, or don't see your own games because they've dropped off the radar. This is in no way, I'm just talking revenue here, I'm not talking profitability. Profitability of Netmarble, from what I've seen from the financial reports, you'd need some sort of, I don't know, it's up and down like a yo-yo. It's like a roller coaster if you look at their actual profitability, with some massive losses, some pretty big years of profitability, and there seems to be no rhyme or reason for me. That's beyond my interpretation. But guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Something a bit different, I know. It's not gameplay and that sort of stuff, but yeah, thanks for listening, and if you like it, give me a thumbs up and sub, and leave a comment. Thanks.